having cancer does not equate death. And now I'm a testament to show you that subcutaneous mastectomy, and whereby they leave the nipple and they take out
The
most of the
rest,
tissue
yeah.
behind, and that was what I chose because I thought if I take out most of my breast, then hey, there's
It's gonna get rid of it.
very little possibility that this will ever come back.
Yeah.
First and foremost, passionate about my children and my love for them and my care for them and my desire to see them be.
What's up, everyone? My name is Rafael. Welcome to Limitless. Today's guest, and I can't explain it enough. How honored and privileged I am for her to be here, and she worked as a paralegal, beauty stylist. She worked as an interior design, and then I'm gonna ask all that question later. There's actually like a very beautiful story behind all those, and she's three times breast cancer survivor, 20 surgery, right?
22.
22 in total, and a mother of three, more importantly. And now she serves the community by volunteering, and then also she found High Heel Diaries, and also she is a life coach. So there's so much, it's a mouthful, and we're gonna get to it. Natalie,
I'm a
welcome.
real Jamaican. I have many jobs.
That is awesome. Welcome, welcome.
Well,
I'm
thank
really
you.
honored to be here.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
so
having me.
that is awesome. I'm gonna speak the way we met. Yeah.
Yes, please, please do.
So I know you, but you
Mhm.
didn't know me for a while. So
Mhm.
I went to school with your stepdaughter,
Mhm.
and
That's
then the
right.
same time, we used to go into the same barber, and all cuts. Shout out to all
Oh,
cut.
Cuts, what up?
What's up? Um, and I remember, so the time that I was coming to the barber when I didn't lose everything.
When you still had hair?
I still had hair, like long hairs. Like I used to actually be a lot, and then he was nice enough for him me not to charge me extra, because I used to have like
Oh, yes, you used to have.
curly hair and all the way to like my shoulder.
Okay.
And when I come in, and I want it to be like afro,
Mm.
but anyways, so I see you coming in.
Mhm.
So one time I think we had cut. I think he had like an anniversary party or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, his barbecue?
Yeah,
Or-
the barbecue.
Yeah.
So you came in. I'm very like I was timid, new to it kind of. That was like 2 years, sitting down, and I see a lady just walked in, and she's like said hi, went to the backyard, and she danced a little bit. I'm like,
Is that she,
and
me?
yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm like sitting down because in my culture, I've never seen someone being free like that, right? So it's like it was strange. And then I'm like, she got like confident, like insane. I was sitting down. So, um, and then time passed by. I was going through Instagram to kind of look for something that relates to the brand, right?
Right,
Limitless,
right. To your
something that
clothing brand.
represent black, something that is actually empowers people. Things, and I was just going hashtag Ajax and things like that, and then you popped in, and I'm like, wait a minute. I know this lady, and I'm like going through it, and then when I saw your story, I was just mind bottled, and then you are truly a warrior, and
Thank you.
I really really appreciate. I think a lot of people can take from your words. So
Thank you. Thank you for that.
let me get into it.
Yes, get in.
Who's Natalie?
Who's Natalie? Wow, gosh, that's a loaded question because Natalie is so multifaceted.
Yeah.
And actually, I take pride in that because I think I'm very true to um, my sign, Gemini. And I'm not a huge, like, I'm not big on following, all that astrology. But
Yeah.
what I do know, from what I do know about Geminis, we love hard. We wear our we wear our love on our sleeve, like we wear our heart on our sleeve. We also can be very much one way and very much the other way. So it's like I could be as sweet as pie and I can be your worst enemy. But that just goes to show that I'm very passionate about everything that
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Um, and first and foremost, passionate about my children and my love for them and my care for them and my desire to see them be whole, loving, successful individuals. So everything I do in life truly surrounds that being my end game.
Yeah.
So whether it's, working part-time
Yeah.
as a paralegal, I'm following my heart and doing what I love to do, but yet I'm part-time because I want to be there for my children. I've worn many hats in my working career, but I do that because I'm always trying to find the right fit for me as well as for my children.
Yeah.
So I'm 49 years old. Yes, I'm
Young.
49.
Wow.
49 years young.
Yeah.
My birthday's in May. I'm a licensed paralegal by trade.
Yeah.
And my first daughter is 23. My second daughter is 18, and my son is 15.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm married. Been married for 25 years in
Wow.
November.
Wow.
With my partner for 34, 35 years. So yeah, long time. We're different personalities, but we've grown, and as we should grow, when you're with someone for so long, you should grow and change. Some of our growth has been in different directions,
Yeah.
but I think we have a end game, and is that to see our children into a successful life and successful career and show them love. After my breast cancer, so I'm a manager of operations at a paralegal firm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is my one side of the brain. But the other side of my brain has always been this creative
Yeah.
type personality.
Yeah, because I've seen it on your. I'm like, I was saying that. How is it as someone? You started in your I think interior design.
Yeah.
And right away you just got awarded for what is it? People Choice Award.
Yep.
Yeah,
Best
so-
home
so-
stager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best home stager.
Yeah, I used to write articles for magazines, and I decorated and I staged, and I took up that career after, because originally when I went to school I was a legal assistant.
Okay.
And then I started traveling with my husband.
Yeah.
And so my career had to take a back burner.
Yeah.
Which is another thing about me, is that I sacrifice a lot.
Yeah.
I sacrifice a lot for those that
Yeah.
I love,
I can see that.
in order to see them succeed as well. But always in the back of my mind, my mind's always working to make sure that I'm also feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
So, anyways, where was I?
So it's-
So the legal assistant. And then at the end of my husband's career, because he's an athlete, so they retire early.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people think when I say my husband's retired, they're like, "Oh, you got a sugar daddy, you got an old man." Like, no,
They
he's
don't know.
not
They don't know
old.
the one before that.
He's not
Yeah,
old.
yeah, yeah.
I decided to become an interior designer.
Yeah.
So I went to school and I took that up, and I had my own business for 12 years.
So the beauty stylist, is it before that or after that?
Beauty stylist came after that.
And then-
Kind of during the tail end of my.
And then you owned that too, and then you became. the
Well,
top.
I worked for Dior Cosmetics.
Yeah, and
at,
then after that you got awarded becoming one of one of the top team from out of 100 team.
Right. So when I worked for Dior Cosmetics at Markville Bay with my partner Lubna, it was just her and I. Well, it was her alone at first, and then I came on, and together the sales were so great that we won Team of the Year. I think it was in 2009, our
Yeah.
first year there.
Yeah.
Out of all the stores
Nice.
in the Ontario area. So that was great. It was a great feeling. So I went from 18 hours to 24 hours to 30 hours because the sales grew so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And again, back to true to form for me, too many hours became too much for me
No.
because my children. And so I decided, my brain started working again. At that time, I already finished my first breast cancer diagnosis in '08. I was going through surgeries. And I decided in 2013 to go back to school and to become a paralegal. And so I left the Dior Cosmetics to go back to school. And I was decorating and staging at the same time.
Yeah.
And once I graduated and I wrote my exam with the Law Society, I started working in that field. So I put the decorating staging to the side, as well as the makeup artistry, and I was just doing things kind of freelance,
Yeah.
as they came,
Yeah,
because I never
yeah,
can
yeah.
say no.
Yeah, I know. Obviously,
I'm like that
yeah.
person. I
Yeah,
just I
if
don't
you-
know how to say no.
Exactly. No.
Don't ask me
because-
for $100 because
I
I'm going to
would-
say no.
Because I will come to that because it's that nature that actually I think I'm not gonna go ahead of myself, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you that later.
Yeah.
So there was your son was born in September 2007.
September 11th, 2007. You're
Seven,
right.
yeah. Well, my son was born in July, same year, so they
Okay.
have the same.
Okay.
So, 5 months later, talk to me. February 2008.
Yeah, yeah. So my third child, Quentin, he was born September 11th. I usually nurse my children for 7, 8 months,
Yeah,
7, 8, 9 months. Um, but with Quentin, because he was born kind of that time of year when kids are going back to school and then it's coming close to
yeah,
Christmas and whatnot, and I had my other two, 8 and 3 years old, busy. And this little guy was like nurse, nurse, nurse. He just always wanted to nurse, and
yeah.
one side too. And I got a little tired, and I decided to supplement. And then, because I wasn't nursing him anymore, my breasts went back down to their original size after a couple months. And in February of '08, I was just in the shower, and I felt a lump on my own. And I was never one of those women that did that month thing that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
they talk about
yeah,
these days, lift your arm up and
yeah.
do that feel. I never did that, but it was so prominent that as I'm lathering up, I felt it. And went for an ultrasound and mammogram, and they both came back saying that it was nothing, just maybe calcifications of the milk ducts.
So you did the checkup right away?
Yeah, well, I went to my doctor,
Okay,
and she
okay.
ordered the ultrasound and
Yeah.
mammogram, and they had come back saying it was nothing. And intuitively, I knew that this was not nothing. I knew that my breast didn't normally feel like this. And so I asked her to send me to a specialist. And this specialist took out that lump 6 months later. She said, let it stay, see if there's any changes, and we'll take it out. Regardless, we'll take it out in 6 months. And that ended up showing that it was breast cancer. Yeah.
So, I know a lot of times you get asked the technical part of it,
Yeah.
what happened here or that. But in most of the time, what people don't notice is the emotional part.
Oh,
And so, having your children, and myself being a parent, the feeling of there's a chance of you not being there. How did you, like, what made you feel when you get the first news? And I remember, like, forget this kind of huge news, a small tragedy, people just sink in. And how did you feel, like, when you heard that?
yeah. Well, to begin with, I was alone. And it's not that my husband didn't want to be with me. I was just like, I'm good. I'm going in 2 weeks later after my surgery. I'm just going in to get my stitches out. I just thought I can manage that on my own, no problem. And so I was alone. And when she came in, the doctor came in. Um, she was, she looked like she was very pale because she didn't know how she was going to tell me the news that she was going to tell me. Because after surgery, she actually had said that it looked like it was nothing. Because they can look at the
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
cysts or the actual lump and
yeah,
say
yeah.
what they think it is. Anyway, she said she didn't think it was anything. So when she came in to say, yes, it's cancer, I, of course, instinctively, when you hear the word cancer, you think of death. I mean, it's my first time talking about it in
Yeah.
such detail with her, or with anybody for that matter. I never really had anybody in my life that had breast cancer or any kind of cancer, to be honest. Except for my uncle, but he had brain cancer, but breast cancer, no. So, anyways, yes, I thought about my children. I thought about I'm not going to be here for them. I'm not going to be able to see them, play all these different activities and graduate from high school and university and get married and have children. Like when people talk about when they die and they have all these flashbacks of their life, I feel like it was almost like that for me while I was sitting there in
Yeah.
the doctor's office. Like all these things were going through my head as to what I'm going to miss, and how are they going to survive without me? How is my husband going to manage without me being there for them? So it was hard to hear, but then almost instantly, I was like, "What's next? What do we have to do? How are we going to fix this?
Wow.
Yeah, how are we going to fix this? Because I need to be here." So
So the fighter in you, I think naturally you had that fighter personality inside of you, because other people, because I remember a while back, a friend that we know, she was fine, like, and she was told, and then once she got the news that she had, I think it was a brain tumor, she literally just collapsed, because it wasn't just the sickness, the news just
Yeah.
deteriorate
Yeah.
her health in
Yeah.
like in total. So
It's the mindset, right?
for someone to
Yeah.
hear the news and then to say, okay, let's go, that takes a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when you have something to live for,
Yeah,
well, we all have something to live
yeah,
for,
yeah.
but when you,
Children's are different.
yeah,
Yeah,
when you focus on something and say, I need to be here for this purpose, I got to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm here.
yeah,
And so automatically, I just like, she was like, okay, well, if there's any cancer to have, not that anybody wants to have cancer, but if there's any cancer to have in your breast, this is the kind you want to have. It was early grade, early stage, but the caveat to that was it was high grade aggressive growing. So although it was early grade, ER positive, so estrogen receptor positive, because our breasts they feed off of estrogen, and too much estrogen is not good for our breasts,
yeah,
causes cancer.
yeah,
And so mine was an ER positive type cancer. The fact that it was high grade aggressive growing meant that if it wasn't caught when it was, it could metastasize quicker and turn into something else, move to other parts of your body, lymph nodes, and then that's when it could turn into a very
yeah,
dire
yeah,
situation.
yeah.
So she set out her plan to, go for another MRI and so on and so forth,
Yeah.
and talk about the treatment plan. And so that's where my mind was. It was treatment, get better, let's do this.
That is insane how the the mentality, how you fix it and just to get ready for what it
Yeah.
is.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'll be a damn liar if I was to say that I was always positive,
Yeah,
because we're human, right?
yeah, yeah,
There was definitely times where I had very dark moments that no matter how much I knew that the prognosis looked great,
yeah.
I still thought, what if this doesn't work? What if it comes back? What if, what if,
Yeah.
right? And those can be very damning to your healing. Like, the negativity can really hurt your healing. Stress is a killer in itself, right? So,
That is true. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The
absolutely.
stress. That's what I saw in a lot of people is the fact that is more than the sickness. Sometimes I know that has its own part, but the stress just
Yeah,
literally that
yeah, yeah,
plays a lot of
yeah.
yeah, and
And,
it's
and I won't lie, like, there's no history of breast cancer in my family. So I had a lot of stress in
yeah,
my life. I did, was going through a lot. And I mean, I want to think that that was part of why the cancer came about.
yeah.
So going forward, I try to limit as much stress in my life as possible.
And then you went under a lot of knife too because
Yeah.
uh, you said under in the first year and a half you did 10 surgeries.
Yeah, the first year and a half was
Wow.
um, about 8 to 10 surgeries. Yeah, and was with one doctor in particular, and then she got to a point where she couldn't help me anymore. Like, I went through the initial lumpectomy,
Yeah.
and then the MRI showed that there were some other suspicious areas. So she gave me the option of doing another lumpectomy, which takes out more
Yeah.
tissue,
Yeah.
or a mastectomy, a subcutaneous mastectomy, and whereby they leave the nipple and they take out
The
most of the
rest.
tissue
Yeah.
behind. And that was what I chose, because I thought, if I take out most of my breast, then hey, there's
It's gonna get rid of it.
very little possibility that this will ever come back,
Yeah,
right? I had a lot of complications. I had blood transfusions because I formed hematomas and, like, lost a lot of blood, had to be rushed back into surgery. And I did both breasts, but they'd only do one at a time. So the exact same complications that I had on one side happened on the other, but
So
at
that's
different times.
so that's what happened in 2013. So what is
No,
so
2013. So going backwards. So 2008, I had about 10 surgeries. Finally, the doctor couldn't rectify the problems because I was forming a lot of scar tissue, and
Yeah.
she sent me on to another doctor.
Yeah.
This doctor had another procedure that she was able to do. She's one of the only doctors in Ontario that did it, using human cadaver tissue to build like a hammock to hold my implants, because
Yeah.
I had very little breast tissue, so the implants were bottoming out and almost like falling out,
Like heavy.
falling. Yeah. Just a lot of complications, scar tissue, which formed hard. And so this doctor had some miracles that she can perform. So we went to St. Mike's, and I had the 4 surgeries with her, and I was on my last one, surgery number 13, supposedly. Supposed to be my last one.
Yeah.
And that was when we found more cancer, and that was in 2016. And that was, again, I I noticed it because I noticed that, my breast didn't look normal. My nipple was like looking kind of
Yeah.
like I was nursing, just cracked. And women
Yeah.
that have nursed would know what I'm talking
I
about.
understand. That's
You
it.
understand
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
right? When you're
yeah.
first nursing,
Yeah.
these little kids are like, suck, suck, suck.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's all they do.
they're so greedy. But that's what I likened it to. And so I told the doctor, I said, something's not right here. And so in surgery, she tested it and came back and said that it was cancer. This was the nipple cancer, the Paget's disease, and that was the second diagnosis. So that was hard to hear because I went through all this reconstruction to build back these breasts, all these surgeries, all the emotional upheaval, and then here we are back at kind of stage 1 again,
Yeah.
or stage 0. And so she decided that I was having complications from that, and she decided that she'd go back in and try to fix those complications. And while she was there, decided to just do some more exploratory surgery to make sure she got
Yeah.
all the cancer.
Yeah.
And again, 2 weeks later, went back to get the stitches out, and she found more cancer. So
Okay.
within that, I think it was like a month and a half period, there were 2 diagnoses, and that was the time when things really started to change for me, as far as my mindset.
So you said within 2.5, 2 diagnosed, which is in 2016.
Yes, actually,
So that makes it pretty much 4 or 3, like 4 times.
that was my third
That's the
diagnosis in
third one.
2016.
So,
So the
okay,
first
'cause
08.
2013 is when you finished your first
Right,
construction. Okay,
right. I know
okay.
it's a lot to keep up
Okay.
with.
No, I'm
But you're
like,
doing
no,
good.
it's a lot. I'm trying to do my homework.
And you're doing good. And I actually I created a video, just the timeline,
Yeah.
because it was a lot, and a lot of people asked questions. I was like, you know what? Here's the video.
So how? I mean, I understand. And when it comes to you and your emotion, how is it on your children?
Sorry. How
on
was,
your kids? How was the
Yeah.
all this like? I mean, as as being a child once and
Mm-hmm.
being as a parent right now, and I know how kids will think and say like, is she gonna be around? Is
Yeah.
she gonna leave?
Yeah.
Right? And then there's that going through, and then some kids, they don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
They want to hold it inside.
Yeah,
So,
that was my first.
the first one.
Yeah, my first daughter was like that. But yeah, I'll talk about that. But let me first add this, that in 2016, when the third diagnosis came about, and she came in and told me that, she said that I have to get rid of the full breast all over again. So the full breast that we had reconstructed, I have to now lose it. And so that was hard on everybody. That was hard on my husband. He was there, and I looked over, and he was there, and he was just like bawling. And I
Oh,
was like,
he's a crybaby like me.
he's a
Okay,
crybaby.
I'm like that. I can't. Like every situation, my wife says is like, even if something has nothing to do with you, if you see people cry, you cry with them.
Yeah,
I'm like,
because you're
yeah.
sensitive,
Yeah,
right? And you care.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
he's sensitive,
Yeah.
and he's a trini, so he's very sensitive. Anyways, going now. Remember, now I've had, by this time that would have been 16 surgeries,
Yeah.
and now I'm gonna have to go through
Wow.
removing the breast. So when I went home, I decided that I had to tell my children, be hardcore with them, because in 08 they were younger, right? They
Yeah,
were 8,
yeah.
3, and 1.
Yeah.
Going through those surgeries, they were older. But now at this point in 2016, my first daughter, I think she was probably like 17 or 18. And they were of the age now where they could better understand now that having cancer does not equate death. And now I'm a testament to show you that, because now it's been 8 years. And yes, I've been going through surgeries, but I'm still here. It's just, we're just trying to get to that end game, because
Yeah.
the diagnosis keeps showing the cancer keeps trying to show itself. But each time we catch it early enough that we can get rid of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But mommy's still here. Mommy's still good.
Yeah.
So I just kind of explained to them, and especially now being young women,
Yeah.
I wanted them to understand the challenges that can come with having these reproductive organs and the risks that are we are faced with as women, and how to better be proactive in order to know what's happening to your body and what changes are normal and what are not normal.
Yeah.
So that was my thought process when I decided to talk to them, and also to let them know, hey, you're hearing this again, yes, but mommy's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be here for you. I'm gonna be okay. And so I just wanted to reassure them that, yeah, all this surgery, all these surgeries that I'm having, understand why. It's not that they're elective. It's not that I'm gonna die, next tomorrow. I'm just trying to get to an end game,
Yeah.
right? So they understood and they weren't so sad. My older daughter, again, as I was saying, she's very quiet but very intuitive. Like she sits back and takes
Yeah.
everything in,
Yeah.
and she she didn't really speak much. And even to this day, she doesn't say much. She was like, okay, but she'll leave and she'll think about it. And what I am afraid of, though, for her is that she internalizes things.
That is the yeah. That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
I get scared of that kind of stuff
yeah.
when um, when we lost our brother, my brother-in-law, his uncle, and is close to age to him, and until this point he doesn't want to talk about it and he doesn't want to mention. So I always try to encourage him, like for him to speak out, and that's one of the things that I always get. I have a fear of, like, I don't want him to internalize it, and for him to just, because one way or the other is gonna explode later,
Yes.
and having that conversation to talk about it is really,
Yep.
it's really amazing.
Yeah. It's
How was on you? I mean, it's one thing to talk to them, but it's another thing to come out of you and you to sit down and have a conversation to put that reality in front of them.
Yeah, and again, I knew I had to have these conversations because I wanted them to understand it.
Yeah.
And remember, I said that in 2016, after the third diagnosis, that was the pivotal year for me.
Yeah.
And for many reasons. It's because my children are older. I needed them to understand it a little bit better. For me, I also knew that having three diagnoses and having each one being caught at an early enough stage
Yeah.
that I didn't have to go through chemo or radiation because they caught it at such a stage that removing it by surgical means was enough. I felt blessed. I felt very blessed that God was showing it to me. And I felt that He was doing that because there was a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And when I started to think of it that way, I knew that my mind was turning about what that purpose, how I was going to put that purpose in effect.
Yeah.
So my mind was like turning while I was actually going through surgeries, and I was home a lot, and I took a year off of work, and a lot of friends were visiting, and we were speaking more, and I was speaking so very candidly and open about it that a couple of my girlfriends were like, you should speak, you should speak about this and you should share what you know, because now it's been 16 surgeries later, three diagnoses later, 8 years later, a lot of ups and downs and complications and emotional upheaval. I mean, my husband and I, nearly went through divorce because the emotional baggage that I was carrying, a lot of the feelings that came up from my past and my history were starting to rear its ugly head because everything was now like coming to light.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so we had to go to counseling to try to like get a handle on that.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very honest about that because a lot of people will pretend like that's not a reality of what they go through when they're going through emotional baggage, emotional drama. It happens,
Yeah.
and sometimes people make it through.
Was your husband so as a husband always, which is one of the worst thing I have as a character, I try to fix a lot of things when my wife tried to discuss with me, and it's
See, my
just
eyes were getting big. I was
yeah,
like,
it's just, see, for me, I'm just trying to help,
yes,
but it
yes,
just came
yes.
out as me trying to be therapy for her, right? So it's like, and then we go through. She's like, I don't want you to tell me what the problem is. I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to hear it.
Hear it and be there.
Yeah, and then for me, I'm like, it's not. I think the on both sides the misunderstanding is like, the woman might think is like, oh, he thinks he's trying to, like, he knows all and he want to fix it. And on the husband side, he just like, because he cares so much that he want to fix it, but not realizing, sometimes just sitting back and listening,
Oh,
not saying a word.
yeah.
Now, after the loss that she had, I am learning that, like, I should be crying one at a time and I don't say anything. I just sit there and then just either hug her, or if she doesn't want to hug, I just sit beside her. So
Yeah, you're
how was
so
so
right.
was you guys going through that? Because I think it makes you feel like you're alone if you think that your husband is not understanding what you're going through. And then, to be honest,
Yes.
I'll give you this: it's really hard for a man to understand a woman.
Yeah, no, no, no. I understand that. I
Yeah.
understand
So
that we're
how
not.
was that? Like, how was that part of it? You trying to, go through it, but you
Yeah,
want someone not to diagnose, not to therapy or do anything, just be there.
you just nailed it all on the head right there, and thank you for that, because it just shows that you were listening, right? The fact that you can articulate that right now
Yeah.
shows that you were listening. Now, same thing with my husband. Like, he's, caretaker. Always made sure the family was good, like, in all
Physically,
ways.
too, he looks like a
He
Papa
looks
Bear.
like a
Oh
caretaker too, right?
yeah.
Like a bouncer. But I think the hard thing for him was not understanding the emotional part of what I was dealing with, and that I don't need you to fix things for me. That's the doctor and God's role.
That is well
I
understood.
just need you to be there to support me. And that didn't only mean going to work and coming home and taking care of the kids in the house and me, but it also meant emotionally supporting me. Not necessarily did it mean emotionally supporting me verbally, but in that quiet support. Like,
Yeah.
sit there beside me, watch a movie with me, rub my leg, hold my hand, and
Which
here and
is,
there tell me you're
which
gonna
is,
be okay,
yeah.
hon. I don't understand because I'm not in your shoes, but you're gonna be okay, and I love you, and yes, he said that, and those words came, but I felt like it didn't come at the times that I needed to hear it. And yes, that's hard for him, and that's hard for any man, because how do they know when you want to hear something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for most part, because a lot of us women are so strong, we get up and we do things. They think we're okay-ish, so then therefore they don't say too much or do too much, because okay, she's good. She can help out now, um, so I can back up with what I need to say or do.
Yeah.
And we always need that support. We always need to hear that recognition of, I know what you're going through. I don't know what you're going through, but I can understand what you're going through. I sympathize with you. I empathize with you. I love you. I support you. I'm here for you. Whatever you need, just, and then do things like be there to, I don't know, bring some flowers here and there.
Yeah.
Take that woman out on a dinner date or a lunch date or a spa date or something like that, to show that you understand her her need for this right now, more so than any other time.
Knowing what she wants currently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I kind of totally appreciate you. Like, it's a confusing thing,
Yeah.
but
No,
I
I
think
really,
with
especially, I know people will watch this, and there's a, it wasn't planned. The fact that we're in the breast cancer awareness month in October, that we're doing this as of shooting right now, is today's October 23rd. So
yeah,
um, I want people, whoever watches it, who's going the same, into through the same situations, um, especially men, to
yeah,
be able to understand
oh yeah,
how to be supportive.
yeah,
Because in our head, I'm speaking for all men, in our head, it's screaming. It's like, you got to do something. You got to help. You got to say something. You got to fix it. You got to make her feel good. Right? There's all this noise, and it takes a lot for someone just to. And I'm learning this, like, this past 4 or 5 months.
yeah.
And I will say, like, a year since the loss, but I'm learning that I need to just be quiet, do nothing, and
Sometimes
then
quiet is good too.
be there, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we don't have to understand it. I think that's what I. So, um, speak on that, like, for whoever watching us. It's like,
Yeah.
how does a man,
Mm-hmm.
or in general, whether it's a brother, a husband,
Mm-hmm.
a boyfriend, fiance, whatever,
Yeah.
and how does one stands along his spouse for him to say like
Yeah.
know what she needs,
Yeah.
not what you want.
Yeah, and I have quite a few men that reach out to me with that exact same question, that they're not sure on how to support their partner through this. And again, I will say, just don't ever say you understand, because nobody understands until they're in their shoes. And a man certainly doesn't understand because they're not losing their breasts.
Yeah.
They're not losing that ability to feel like a woman without her breasts.
Yeah.
Uh, Having breasts are indicative of us being women as far as our physicality, right? It doesn't take away from our womanness
Womanhood,
or our womanhood or our ability to be emotional beings or love or to feel beautiful or sexy. It's just, I mean, when a woman takes off her clothes and looks and sees a flat chest or a breast that are, nipple looking north or south or, just flat and scarred, it's hard for us. So no one can truly understand that until they go through it. But what I would say for you is, especially believing that you truly love your partner, to make her feel like the most beautiful person in the world.
Yeah.
And that not only means saying it, but actually showing it. Buy her lingerie, you know, take her out on a night out on the town and end it at a hotel. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
close your ears, son. But I'm just saying,
No, we always.
yeah, I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, okay, so keep your
You
ears
know,
open and
yeah.
understand this for future in case you come into this situation in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Be there in a quiet support too. You don't always have to say something because, a lot of times you're going to say the wrong thing. Not all men, but
Most of the
sometimes they
time.
will say the wrong
Most
thing.
of the time, because the thing that comes out of us that we think it's right,
Yeah.
it end up being the most
And it's not
wrong.
your
And then
fault.
you're standing there like, what did I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
say?
yeah. And it's not your fault. And it's like, and good on you for being there to say something at all. But when we're going through what we're going through, we're not, and understand this, we're not in our proper mindset either.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you say something to us now, next year you could say the same thing and we might not take it the same way. But we're just going through our own emotional like journey, and we're feeling so like pent up with our emotions that if you say like one word like the wrong way, high pitch, low tone,
Yep.
it can make a difference in how we perceive it.
Yeah, yeah.
So sometimes you don't need to say anything, just be there. And I always used to tell my husband, I said, you would go in the morning, he'd always make sure I'm good, breakfast, if I need to like shower, do whatever you need to do, dry me up, cream me up, get me back settled in bed, take me to and from our appointments, and then he'd go do what he needs to do with the children or work or whatever. Come home, again, make sure I'm okay. He'd call throughout the day, make sure I'm good, check in. His business is local, so he can be back and forth. But then at nighttime, he'll come home, check on me, and then he'll be, okay, you're okay? Good. He'll be downstairs for hours. And in my head, I'm like, where are you? Like, why are you not up here beside me? Like, I just want you beside me.
Yeah, yeah.
Not even thinking that, hey, and remember this is not only your journey, woman. This is
It's
everybody's
our
journey.
Yeah, yeah.
It's your husband's journey. It's your
Yeah.
children's journey.
Yeah.
It's your parents' journey. It's your friend's journey. It's everybody's journey. And so everybody is dealing with this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They all deal with it differently. And so, because men generally internalize, what he was doing was downstairs, broken as broken can be, worried all the time that he's going to lose his wife, lose the mother of the children. How is he going to do it without me? In tears. But he didn't want to show me that because he needed to show me strength, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is what he thought. He needed to show me strength. So he doesn't want to be up beside me when he's broken or upset. And at the end of the day, he spent the whole day, cleaning house,
yeah.
taking care of children, family, work, me. He's tired too. So he was downstairs kind of in his own little world of sorrow and sadness. So again, it took counseling for me to understand that. But back to what a man can do, it's you don't always have to speak. Just do the little kind and loving gestures. That's all.
How important is it now if you go back in time to see that um, brokenness, vulnerability in front of you? Does it help? Would it make you feel like you're fighting it together? How does it feel? Like if you actually was breaking in front of you?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. Like you said, it did make me feel like I was fighting it with
Because I'm not
someone.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm asking this question because there's a lot of notion women they want their man to be strong,
Mm.
right? So, um, and at the same time, and then there are proper like other women's, the other pendulum
Yeah.
that they want their man to show
Sensitive.
their
Yeah.
sensitivity,
Mhm.
their his emotion.
Mhm.
So my wife always says that don't hide it because you crying, you showing me um, how you broken you are or how weak you are. It makes me feel
It's not
good.
even weak.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is not weak.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
makes me feel. It makes me feel like we're doing it together.
yeah.
So how important is for him
Yeah.
on that time when he was downstairs,
Mm.
breaking in tears, if he did it in front of you?
So if he did it in front of me, honestly speaking, that would make me feel more so that I knew he loved me. I knew that he was concerned. I knew that he felt what I was feeling ish.
Hmm.
I would have felt better knowing that instead of seeing this very strong,
Yeah.
stoic person.
It would make you fight even more
Yeah,
because you know
yeah,
that there's
yeah. It would. It would make me feel supported more.
yeah,
And it's okay for men to show, their emotions. And
yeah,
I think in our society, um, way too often are men taught to be just strong and don't cry. And like, I'm okay with my son crying. And there's a healthy balance, right? Like there's showing
yeah.
emotion and there's being like too soft. Like you don't
Yeah.
want them to be,
No, I
you
like
don't want them to be picked on
no.
either,
I
right?
always say I'm a man of faith, so I always say a man of all men cried, which is Christ for me. So I always say that when people talk,
Yeah.
it was like the man of all men
Yeah,
cried in front of others. So
absolutely.
who are you
And
not
what
to cry?
stronger man is there than he?
Yeah. So who are
Yeah,
you not to cry?
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. So it definitely would have made me feel more like he was with me
yeah.
if he showed me the emotion. Like I said, he's an emotional person. Like, don't get me wrong.
He
Like,
just doesn't
if
do
I
it.
crack the whip, he cries. Only joking. But
He doesn't.
I don't play.
He just doesn't do it like.
So yeah, he at certain times he tends to believe that showing it is gonna hamper my
Yeah.
growth or my healing. So,
Yeah.
but
Because
nonetheless,
he thinks that it's gonna make you more sad, even making you even
yeah,
taking you into a place that you
yeah,
don't want to be at.
and we're
Yeah.
different creatures.
Yeah.
So I understand now, and it took me some counseling to understand it. So
Yeah.
now I'm better able to help.
25 years later.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
help other men and couples that call me reach out to me to ask me these questions. I understand it now because I've
Did
lived it.
did it make like you going through that? Did it make your marriage stronger?
Um, I'm gonna be honest. Perhaps not, because what it did is this journey has made me stronger, and it's made me not put up with certain things.
Yeah, yeah.
It's made me follow my heart and my dreams with certain things full force ahead. It's made me, if I want to try it, if I want to do it, if I want to go there, if I want to be there, if I want to, I just do. I just
Good.
go. It's made me have
Value
no,
time too.
life is too short.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I talked about moving in growing in different directions or at different
Yeah.
paces,
Yeah.
I feel like, and this is not a bad thing or any criticism, but I feel like I have, we were growing kind of like this, and then come my third diagnosis, pew, was me,
Yeah.
my growth and my mindset and my understanding of life and love and goals.
Because it creates
Just
like this sharp focus,
it,
because it makes you value the time that you have.
yeah,
Right.
it does
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's made me somewhat less tolerant and somewhat more tolerant.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
because
Yeah,
more tolerant of the things that I would normally be complaining about. I'm
yeah.
like, I
That's
can't
nothing.
even.
Yeah,
And my whole mindset with that is I can't even take on this stress right now.
yeah,
And then there's less tolerance. We're more tolerant that, you know what, whatever.
yeah.
If do you, I'm gonna, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do what feels right, and not by disrespectful
I understood. Yeah,
means,
yeah,
but just I have to live my life.
yeah,
I have to live. Life is too short for any one of us.
yeah,
I can leave here right now. You can leave here right now, and I will not see you again. I would not want that to happen,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that is just life.
That's the
God has the
reality.
ultimate
The
plan,
reality. Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. Because it's an innocent. I mean, for, it made me realize. I think um, sickness, death, it just makes you realize what you have, things that you take for granted, the
Yeah.
time that you have.
Yeah.
I've heard this man. I was listening to a podcast. This guy said he valued a certain thing that happened to his life. He valued time so much that he literally divided his days into three sections of days. So when people have 7 days in a week, he has 21 days in a week. So what he did was from 6 to 12, that's one day. From 12 to 6, that's second day. From 6 to midnight, that's the third day.
Really? Eh?
Because of that, he said his life, now he's like multi-billionaire and all that stuff, but because of that, he said he focused on everything that he does. Now when he wastes that 6 hours,
Yeah.
for him he's thinking he just wasted a day. So
Makes sense.
I took that. I'm like, I need to practice
Yeah,
for
yeah.
myself. So I think going certain stuff, it makes you focus on life a lot more.
It does. It does. It really does. And like at the end of the day, you have to be, you have to create your own destiny.
Yeah.
And yes, everything is written down for you from the time you're conceived, and I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Your circumstances, the people that you're going to meet, what they bring to you, what you bring to their life,
Yeah.
it's orchestrated and it's all part of your greater plan. But if you don't, when you don't truly understand what your greater plan is, I think like this: if you go through life with this one guiding principle,
Yeah.
do everything in love.
Yeah.
And I so believe in that I literally have it tattooed on my neck.
Do everything in love.
Do everything in love.
That's exactly what biblical Christ said. Do everything in love. Yeah.
Do everything in love.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you have that always in, I don't want to say in the back of your head because it should be in the front of your
Yeah.
brain,
Yeah. Yeah.
that everything you do in life, whether it's your encounters with people, your outlook on life going forward when you think it's, life is over, in your career, in any aspect of your life, if you have that guiding principle, when you're about to say something, do something, feel something, and if it's kind of like on the negative side and you think like
Fix it. Pause.
it'll come out right. Even if it doesn't actually come out right, if you know that you did it with love and you did it with the intention of love,
Yeah.
then you can't go wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I try my hard, and I'm again, yeah, we're human. Pinch me, cut me, and I bleed,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And I'll make mistakes, but I have a good heart.
Isn't it the beauty is like the fact that you make a mistake and then you go on, and then if you don't, that just becomes boring if you're just walking a programmed
I would
robot.
never want to go through life
I love my
unscathed.
mistakes, and,
Yeah.
and certain things might be worse than the other one, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
what makes me me, and then later when I achieve all those, I think
Yeah.
you turn back and you look at it, it's like I was really horrible, and I just made it, and I just passed all that.
Yeah, yeah.
I know you did a lot of things, and what does look good, feel better?
What does look good, feel better?
Yeah.
What does it mean to me?
No, I mean I think you participated in a
Yes.
Is there an organization?
Yeah, so it's a nonprofit organization. Look Good Feel Better. I came across when I was working for DR Cosmetics, during my. Well, you've done some homework.
I do my homeworks.
I'm like, is that a trick question? Does he know about this organization? I came across Look Good Feel Better when I used to work for DR Cosmetics, and we had an event a couple times of the year at the Bay. In the beauty section, where we gave back a percentage of sales to Look Good Feel Better. It's an organization that deals with women that are going through their cancer diagnosis. and we help them to look good so they can feel
Feel a
better.
bit better.
And it's a very simple concept, but it is so very true and
Very
real.
impactful.
Yeah, so they get their own kit of skincare and makeup. There is like a wig technician. She'll show you how, for women that are losing their hair, show you how to like proper care for your wigs. We show them how to put on very simple makeup, eyebrows, draw on their eyebrows, their skincare, the proper way to make sure that they take care of their skin when they're going through treatment, because their skin is very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I was one of the makeup artists that was there to help these women. So
How was it going
it,
through that?
it was again, because I didn't have to go through chemo and radiation
Yeah.
to see. This
What
was
they
my
went
first
through?
time being really in with women that were losing hair
Yeah.
and going through their. It was emotional.
Yeah.
I actually feel emotional right now thinking about it because sometimes there's this thing called survivor's remorse.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel that because I didn't go through that part of it, that I don't want to say that I was blessed or lucky, but I feel like sometimes I don't understand what they actually went through. But seeing them having lost their hair, being frail, their skin being, pale, losing their eyebrows, it can almost take away some of your dignity. And it can take away some of your,
Especially for women.
yeah,
Yeah.
some of your feeling whole as a woman. And so for me to be able to participate in helping these women to bring some of that back to life for them, I really believe when you look in the mirror and you like what you see looking back at you, it helps to heal inside. And that's why I've incorporated makeup artistry, like makeup. I don't know the term I'm looking for. Makeup
Artistry, like yeah.
makeovers is my
Makeovers.
term,
Yeah.
into my High Heel Diaries platform. Is because to help a woman to look good is part of healing. It helps them to heal. And so it was very rewarding for me. I did it for a few years until I went back to school,
Yeah.
and I couldn't handle doing it anymore. But it's part of what I do now with High Heel Diaries.
Yeah. Haven't you, like, you've done that like that with homeless, right? Before?
I haven't, but I wanted to.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I haven't.
That was your vision. You
That was
wanted
my
to do-
vision.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we discussed
Yeah,
that.
because we discussed that before. I
Yeah.
remember, and you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I wanted to drive around in a van outfitted with a makeup counter and wardrobe, and pick up people off the street and give them a little makeover and then send
first
them.
first volunteer right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To help me out, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we could do that together.
We
I
used,
could just.
I think I told you, and he used to do the same thing when you were a child, when you were like small kid, and his mom used to pack him food. He used to go around and give to homeless people, and he just sits down and talk with them and stuff. So we always in the back of your head is like, it's funny how life just drives you away from the passion that you
Yeah.
have because you go crazy. And we used to say it's like we need to go back to do that, like
Yeah.
giving back and that. I think it's important that even as a person, it makes you grow when you give back a lot.
It certainly
And,
does.
Yeah. And I appreciate that because it's in your nature to do that. That's
Yeah.
the reason that you get driven to go through all that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Throughout your journey, I know your daughter raised $1,000 something to give back for a foundation.
I'm impressed, Surfall. I am impressed. I honestly, I don't think anybody that has interviewed me has gone into that great of detail.
Yeah, no, I
And
mean
so I
it's
appreciate
it's
that.
an honor for me for you to be
Doing
here.
your
So I need to
research.
take my time
Yeah.
to know
Absolutely.
you. And
Yep.
how was it for her? Because it must be huge for
Mm-hmm.
her to raise. For in other people's
Yeah.
eye, it might be small thing, but for her, it's a big deal
It's
for
huge.
her
So
to do that.
yeah, I when I was speaking about my children, we're talking so much about so many things, but I meant to get to my second daughter, my Paris. She's now going to be 18 November, but she's that sensitive child. She's like me, and she's very sensitive. She's that one that's like when I go through my surgeries, she's here taking care of me, making sure I'm good. So from when she was 8, I think she was 8, yeah, 8 to 10.
She did that when she was 8.
She was young. She was young.
I didn't know that.
Maybe, yeah, somewhere between 10 and 12. Okay, let's
Yeah.
say that. And she wanted to make bracelets to make pink bracelets
ribbon,
with
yeah.
pink ribbon
Yeah.
in order to raise money to give back. And like she had that philanthropy spirit, that give back, want to help spirit at such a young age, and
Yeah.
she's always been that type of person. And yeah, we raised just over $1,000. And the hospital that I first had my surgeries at were Centenary Hospital, and then we live in Ajax, so
Was it 1,008, 1,080? Don't forget everything.
I think it was
1,080. Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah. Every penny counts. So
Yeah,
you gotta
so we
give her
donated
credit.
it
Yeah.
to the Lake Ridge Hospital.
Yeah.
And
Which one? The Ashwa? Or?
I think no, not
Ashwa is
Oshawa.
the one who has. Huh?
Not Oshawa. It was either Pickering. It was either Ajax, Pickering, or Centenary.
Oh, okay. I thought Ashwa has a cancer.
They
research.
do.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay,
it wasn't Oshawa.
okay. All right.
But yeah, so there was the little photo up there for her, and they had a photo of myself, my husband, my Paris, and I think of my son. He's also very loving and supportive.
Yeah.
Supported his mommy. He's the only boy. But yeah, very, very, very loving. I still have some of those bracelets. And I kind of want to do that again. I think it was a nice gesture
Yeah.
in order to show that I would like for her to do it again, actually, to show that, I support my mom and I support all these women that are going through what they're going through. And that was before I started out with High Heel Diaries. But the reason I started High Heel Diaries again was to share what I've learned, to impart my wisdom and knowledge from my journey to others, and to give back.
Yeah.
So that I was going through that philanthropy stage too, and I wanted to give back in any way and shape that I can. So I do multiple things.
That is awesome. So Paris is the model one.
They both model, actually.
They're both
Yeah,
model.
but Morgan first started. She's oldest.
Yeah.
She models with Settle In Models, and then
Yeah.
Paris is with LeDrew and Emmy Model Management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell her that I can't afford to know, but I'm coming for her. That when I get there,
Yeah, you're coming for them
I look
next?
At, I'm
Yeah,
coming
no.
for them.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm like, I think it was when with my wife was going through it, and I was showing her. I'm like, I would just fell in love with the hair, like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
with the natural afro. I'm like, that is awesome.
Yes.
I've never seen, when people do their natural beauty,
Yeah,
like that is
yeah,
just
yeah.
like insanely beautiful. So,
Listen, I've learned from my daughters as far as natural beauty.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I come from the school of,
Yeah.
we used to always want straight hair, so
Yeah.
we would put perm and relaxer in our hair, and color our hair. And I'm not going to say I still don't love that, because I
Yeah.
love being creative. That's the
Yeah,
creative
yeah,
side
yeah,
of me.
yeah.
But I've now stopped putting chemicals in my
Yeah.
hair. Well, as far as
it kills it, right? Like,
straighteners and stuff,
yeah.
I'll still do some colors.
Yeah.
But as you know, because my hair was green before I
Yeah, I
put
know.
this in.
You had, and then you
It
had
was
green,
blue.
red, and
Yes, I've tried lots of colors. But I've learned from them, and I love the fact
Is
that
this your first time doing dreads?
no, it's locks. Don't call it dreads
Lights.
ever.
So yeah,
Do
sorry,
not-
locks.
I
locks.
learned.
I'm sorry.
Don't call it locks.
Yeah, dread is like
Second.
It's
It's my second time.
Second time.
Yeah,
It looks nice.
I love
like
it.
And
This is
Yeah.
from my guy Benji from Full Locks by Benji. Yeah,
Okay,
he
shout
does a
out to Full
fabulous
Locks,
job.
Benji. Yeah.
Shout out Benji.
It's amazing. So, your son is a soccer star.
Yes.
He's a football star.
Yeah, you call it football
Yeah,
for sure.
I
Yeah.
came from Africa, so I don't like when people say soccer.
Soccer, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
used to soccer.
Yeah, he
Didn't he just sign in for? Is it a
Toronto FC Academy.
league?
So
Yeah.
he signed each year. They do signings. So
Okay.
the kids that are already there will
Okay.
sign again if they're keeping them. So he's been there for 4 seasons.
So that's his passion. That's what you want to do.
That's what he wants to do.
Awesome.
He wants to be a professional soccer player, whether it's here for TFC, whether it's overseas,
Whatever, yeah,
Europe,
yeah.
MLS.
Yeah.
That's what he wants to do, and he's a fabulous player.
Yeah.
And he's hungry.
He's got the
works hard.
physicality too.
Oh, does he
Yeah,
ever?
Yeah. He's
Yeah, he
got
does.
the physicality.
You know, there's a lot of athleticism in our family.
Yeah.
His dad, again, was a baseball player. Nobody played baseball.
Yeah.
But all my kids played either soccer or basketball.
Yeah, and I was gonna come back to that. How old did you say you was? 40.
How old is he?
I know how old were you. How old are you right now? 40.
I'm 49.
49. For a 49 years old woman, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And that one thing that I was gonna come back to that was that you work out. right?
I work out. I do. I feel like I haven't been able to do as much as I normally do because I'm
Yeah.
suffering some from a back injury and a
Yeah.
knee injury right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my go-to sport is the
Yeah.
gym.
Isn't it amazing though? Like going through that, and then look where you are right now. Like
Yeah,
you're an
you know
amazing.
what? I just posted on my page.
You're going ahead of ourselves. Don't
Okay,
don't
okay,
don't
okay,
don't.
okay, okay. I was gonna
Speak.
say
I was gonna speak about that. Not don't go.
you
So
take the lead
okay.
then.
So because I was like sitting down. Yes, I was like
Yeah, yeah.
clapping. So I wanted to speak that later. So let's go back to your foundation, High Heel Diaries. Okay.
Yeah, my platform. Yeah, my foundation.
So it's like a foundation platform, right? This it's all in one kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not a registered charity or anything, so I don't know if I want to call it foundation. It's my cause.
Yeah.
And because I do so many things and need time for my personal self-care, my family, my job, I don't have the time for all the red tape of creating a charity.
Charity.
So it's really people know me, people trust me,
Yeah.
and if they donate to me, they know where it's
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
So what I do
So
with
what
High
is the
Heel
vision?
Diaries,
Yeah.
yeah, it's my vision, it's my cause, and I always had this idea in my head when I created it that I wanted to do a breast cancer walk. Like I wanted a bunch of women to walk in high heel shoes and us be walking for the cause of women. And the premise of High Heel Diaries is not only supporting breast cancer, but it's supporting women as we every day go through life holding our head high and walking strong and powerful, taking care of ourselves, our families, our husbands, our jobs, our husbands' jobs, our children. But what happens sometimes is that we forget when we're going through our own struggle. And if we don't take a step back to heal,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
HEAL,
Yeah.
that will never be good for ourselves or for anybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
So, and in addition to that, taking that step back and taking the time to articulate how you're feeling,
Yeah.
opening up your diaries
Yeah.
and sharing what you're feeling with a proper source, mind you,
Yeah.
because you don't want to just talk your business to anybody and
Exactly.
everybody,
Yeah.
in order to heal. So, High Heel Diaries. And so, I always wanted to do a walk in support of women and in support of that mission. So my walk a mile in my shoes is the walk
Yeah.
that I've
Yeah.
done
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
And then where the breast cancer support comes in is the money that's raised from that goes towards helping women that are going through their current diagnosis of breast cancer and they're suffering financially and need some assistance, whether it's children's activities, utilities, groceries, what have you. And if anything, and they don't need finances to help them with those things, then either a care package or I give them a day at the spa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all that all comes from people that either see my platform and that reach out to me, or someone that knows someone that says, "Hey, reach out to Natalie,"
Yeah.
and that's how I'm supported.
So how do look to the audience? I I naturally I don't like promoting things that I'm not
Yeah.
a fan of or I don't really truly believe it. And I'm telling you 100% I believe in this woman. So how do people donate if
How
they
do they
want it?
donate?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can just reach out to me and you can talk to me about. I do different events. Like right
Yeah.
on October 30th, I'm having a dinner give back
Yeah.
for women,
Yeah.
for survivors. So a lot of people will just say, "Hey, Nat, I want to give you, X amount towards that." Or when I do the walk, when I do the breast cancer walk, which is once a year, usually in October, you buy a ticket. The ticket gives you kind of access to the event,
Okay.
but that 90% of the proceeds goes towards
Have you
helping
done
the
it yet?
women.
The walk?
I've done 3 already.
And have you done it
Oh,
this
I
month?
didn't do one this past
This-
year.
okay.
COVID has kind of put
Yeah.
it's had me slow back with a few things.
Okay. You haven't done this month, did you, right?
I didn't do one
Oh, okay.
October past, but I'll
Okay.
do one next October.
Okay, next
Yeah.
year. Okay, okay.
So people will donate by buying a ticket, and sometimes they donate above and beyond that.
Okay.
I also will have vendors at the event,
Yeah.
but anything to do with wellness and healthcare.
Do you have any system on your website on a platform to donate from?
To donate, there's not like a donate now button
Yeah,
or
yeah,
anything like
yeah.
that, but it's more
Just
so
contact you
just
and then-
contact me, and then
Okay.
I mean I don't want people just to say, hey, how much can I donate? I want to talk with you. Like I
Yeah,
want you
yeah.
to know what I do, and it goes right into the account to help the women. I also have a wine label
I
It's
was
a
gonna ask
very
that.
nice.
Yeah.
I should have brought one.
I know. I was gonna
It's
ask
a
that.
very
And
sexy bottle.
yeah, like so. Um, how do they buy that one? Like,
So
say
yeah,
when the wine.
so the bottles are $25, and then you get a commemorative. It's a donation,
Okay.
and then you get a
Is it
commemorative
ordered through
bottle.
your website?
So you can go to the website. Um, I'm not sure if there's a link there. I can't remember if I put a link
Yeah.
there to buy the bottle. But again, everything is email me and I'll tell you how.
Okay.
On my IG, on my Instagram, High Heel Diaries, you'll see various posts that are like
Yeah.
pre-order right now, pre-order. But I
Yeah.
always carry the bottles.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm gearing up. I'm getting some bottles. I have some bottles on order for the Christmas because
Yeah.
that's usually when I sell
Yeah.
a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But they're super
so
beautiful.
we're gonna put the link to High Heel Diaries
Yes.
and then to your High Heel Instagram as well, and then
Yes.
your personal one.
Yeah.
People, if you guys want to contact her, donate, buy the wine. By the way, the wine bottle is blinged out. Like I've seen
Yes.
it. It is fully blinged out. So
Yep, I love that bottle.
yeah,
I had a
and,
vision, and that's
yeah.
the thing. That thing about my vision, and I
What
talked.
kind of wine? What kind of wine is it?
So there's red, rosé, and white. The red is Cabernet Sauvignon. The white is Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
And then there's White Zinfandel for the rosé.
Okay, all the high end stuff. So
good stuff.
so we'll do that. And so now, let me take it back to hospital. 'Cause to in general hospital, and then the hospital that you were admitted to. How was your experience in there? Because especially as a black woman, right? There's one thing, a black person, because I don't know. I've never been to a hospital before, in God's grace. But out of experience, a lot of people say that there is this stereotype tendency of black people have a high tolerance for pain, and so I don't know if this is a myth or not. So, how was your experience? Was it a very good experience? There's things that you want, places that to change when it comes to treating different people, and I wanted to know.
Well, that's such a big. That's a topic of conversation for a whole nother podcast.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I have quite a great deal of views on different areas of that. I think first and foremost, the government needs to do better with offering funds and access to marginalized
Community, yeah.
people. Because just by nature of us being marginalized and being in underserviced communities, we have less access to everything. Less access to healthcare, less access to information, less access to support services, medical services. And by that, I don't mean that, yes, we all live in, say, for instance, let's use Toronto, for instance. Various races live in various areas of Toronto.
Yeah.
I understand that. But not only because of the lack of education of certain people, so we have to look at it. If you have a lack of education, there's less chance that you're going to have that knowledge or know-how in order to know how to access these things.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So what I believe is that the government needs to put them in front of their faces, basically, to say, hey, you know what? You might not have the ability to do this on your own, but we are going to help you. So we are going to give you access to these things so that it's easier for you to know that you can get a mammogram once a year at a certain place. We can help you find a medical facility to get these services done. We can help you to have transportation to these places because you might not have the finances to do so. We can help you have daycare facilities for your children so that you're not using an excuse that you don't have
Time to
someone to take care
Yeah,
of your child
yeah.
in order to get to the hospital
Yeah,
or to the doctor.
yeah,
You understand? So it's like a trickle effect.
Yeah.
So I think, marginalized communities do suffer.
Yeah.
So the government needs to do better that way, knowing that they're bringing a lot of foreigners into the country, and good on you for doing that. But when you bring them here and you place them in these communities where they're all kind of new and suffering and have the language barrier,
Yeah.
then they're going to continue to suffer. right?
Yeah.
And now we're hearing more and more. And I was part of a CBC Newcast. I think it was October 12th with Natalie Kalada on the
Is it
fact that there
the one he
is,
just did a resume?
yeah,
Yeah.
that there is almost 500,000
That is
less
insane. I heard that.
mammograms.
Yeah, I saw that. When you posted, I'm like,
Yeah, performed this year because of COVID. Now, therefore, and I said that I'm hearing more about women that are being diagnosed at like stage 4 now. It's not like whereby if they were to get a mammogram sooner or have access to a
is it
mammogram
because
sooner.
the lack of appointment? Like when they.
Well, like everything, COVID just has all these cutbacks, right?
Yeah.
COVID caused all the cutbacks, whether it's because the nurses, you know, they weren't taking their vaccinations, therefore they let them go.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of reasons
Yeah,
why
yeah, yeah.
this has happened.
Yeah. So
COVID.
when you do mammogram, so you have to make an appointment and all that. So
Well, your doctor.
that will delay it.
Well, yeah, your doctor recommends, or you would go with, showing that there's a concern, and your doctor would say,
Yeah,
here, go.
yeah.
But if you don't have a concern, at a certain age, I believe it's 45 now,
Yeah.
it used to be 40, at a certain age, you automatically are supposed to get one every year,
Okay.
right? A friend of mine even told me the other day that his cousin was diagnosed with breast cancer at stage 4. Her mother, I believe, was also diagnosed. So now she's asking for a mammogram because she's not 45. He's not allowing her to have one. So there has to be these loopholes whereby just because you're not 45 doesn't mean you can't
Yeah.
get a mammogram.
Yeah.
If you have a family history, you should be able to have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And not only a mammogram, but an ultrasound, like in conjunction.
Yeah.
With regards to your comment about whether or not Black people seem to have more concerns or problems in the hospital, in the medical system, I mean, it hasn't been my experience, so I can't really speak to that. Do I feel that there may be a direct correlation to the lack of information passed from caregiver to patient?
'Cause
If you are a visible
'Cause
minority,
if you don't ask, you don't get, right?
you don't ask, you don't give.
Yeah.
And I think that there's an undertone of you're not going to understand anyway, so I'm not going to put it to you, or I'm not going to offer
Yeah.
you that. But you have to self-advocate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The language barrier. I mean, I could very well see, someone coming from a foreign country, on a visa or as an immigrant in at whatever age, but
It's simply
not
language
having
too. Yeah.
the
Language barrier.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Right, not having the knowledge or the know-how of what to ask. And then the doctor's going to, even like the terminology sometimes that doctors use.
Yeah.
You don't understand them.
Yeah.
They need to speak in layman's terms,
Yeah.
right? So I urge women that if you have these barriers, bring someone with you to the hospital or to the doctor's office that are going to help you to, or even ask the questions for you,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
have them written down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't had, listen, I will go and I will make sure I have my time with you.
My wife.
I am not going to be just a
Yeah,
number.
that's,
Right?
exactly like my wife. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
And
I have questions. I'm sorry, I'm not done.
For
She
me,
can
I'm like, I
wait.
ask general question. I'm like, okay, I think maybe next time. And my wife is like,
Yeah.
no, every detail, every
Yeah.
part of it has got to be asked. Like,
Yeah,
you can't
I'm
pass.
not done.
That is
I'm
awesome.
not done.
Yeah.
And I write my questions down ahead of time even because
Nice.
I'm sure that I'm going to forget to ask some,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I tell women that too, like write them down because you might think about it.
Yeah.
You might do some research.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
some research is healthy.
Yeah.
Too much is not healthy. Figure
'Cause
them
it
out,
makes,
write
it makes
them
you
down.
paranoid when
yeah.
it's too much, right? Yeah.
As far as pain threshold, I don't know if it's a Black person thing or a person of color thing.
No, yeah, it's just.
I think you pinch us, we
Yeah.
all feel it. We all bleed.
Yeah.
I have a high pain tolerance because I've had so many surgeries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I'm glad you clarified this kind of stuff, and I know for everybody's different experience.
Yeah.
But for people to know, sometimes certain news that creates fear on people. I think even certain those one of the reasons for people in minorities like that not to go hospital is because of this kind of talk
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
right? Because they avoid no, they're
They're
not going to treat
afraid.
me well, then I'm not going to
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
So those kind of things I wanted to break it down.
Can I interject before
Go ahead,
you go
go
any
ahead,
further?
yeah.
And I want to say this because I want to, and I'm just thinking about this because I feel like sometimes when I talk about, I talk so candidly about my journey and my struggle, that I sometimes don't remember, especially I'm speaking for my husband, that I don't remember to also say thank you
Yeah.
and to say I appreciate and I understand and I thank you for what you have done and for as much of you as you've tried to understand. I think again because I've tried my hardest to be so carte blanche
Yeah.
about the struggles that one will go through,
Yeah.
so that they understand what could come, is that I talk a lot about that, and then we get to talking about other
Yeah.
things, and then that subject is left. But I never want to come across as I don't appreciate or I don't love or thank, and there's buku gratitude for you, Nigel, and I thank you for the love and support.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that out there.
No, that is no, that is very important. A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
And then in a certain aspect is people think that just because it's their job, they have to do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, there's horrible doctors, horrible
Yeah.
teachers everywhere you go. There
Yeah.
are people that takes it. One of the things that I appreciate about sick kids is that majority of them are like that. The doctors are dedicated to kids.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until I took my daughter. I mean, like the way they just literally climbed on top of each
Oh,
other
yeah.
to treat, and this is the time when COVID came in, and I think we the whole family caught it on that time, but they said it was cold, she couldn't breathe, like we had to rush her and stuff. So, and I see certain professions, certain people do it a lot more than what is necessary. So it's very important to say thank you. And,
Thank you. Yeah.
and
Thank you to everybody that's
especially as a
supporting me.
Canadian, you should know that you should say thank,
Thank
you. every
you.
time.
Just like we say sorry a lot.
Exactly.
Sorry.
You have to say thank you.
Yeah.
How important is to eat healthy, and regarding whether it's going through cancer treatment, doing surgery, and I know you exercise, and I know you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
How important is it for people to really pay attention to that? Just
So pay attention to what.
to like eating right and
Oh,
living.
goodness.
Yeah.
Eating is huge.
Yeah.
I think from back in our early generation when we were in like grade 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
If you remember in school, we always had these food groups.
Yeah.
Eat X amount of fish.
Yeah.
Eat X amount of protein, dairy, da da. And we lived by that. But now there's so many problems in all these different, like the hormones
Yeah.
and the parabens and all these things that are added to our food, like the fruit that are like big and beautiful and luscious looking, like
My wife
is that natural?
She always
That's
says
not-
that the bigger the one, that's the one you avoid.
yeah, right. And the dairy and the estrogen
Yeah.
and the hormones that are pumped into our meats, like, so it's very important to know what you're putting into your body, to add as far as supplements things that you are not putting into your body,
Yeah.
and to exercise. And as much as you will hear, and I've heard this from my husband before, like, and I want to like, don't say this. He's like, the healthiest people, they drop down dead. I'm like, okay, but you still have to do your
Yeah.
due diligence to make sure that you do what you need to do in order to put yourself in the best positive light possible to stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exercise, at least 20 minutes a day. Like, if you can't find 20 minutes for yourself, then you're doing something wrong, right?
I'm taking that note because
Yeah.
I used to be very like hardcore, like a workout person, and after I got married, somehow it's not easy to come back to it after you fell
Yeah.
out. So I think what you just say right now is like if you don't have 45 minutes, you're doing something wrong. That is very
20
crucial.
minutes
Yeah,
even. It doesn't
yeah.
have to be 45 because
Yeah.
sometimes 45 is a lot.
Yeah.
But keep yourself active, keep your heart rate up, especially
Yeah.
for people of color. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're more susceptible to certain diseases,
Yeah.
diabetes,
Yeah.
high blood pressure, and men and prostate cancer, like things like that. Be aware of what you're putting into your bodies and the things that could potentially cause it to show its ugly head sooner.
I'm glad
than-
you mentioned those because a
Yeah.
lot of our culture thinks that we're untouchable. Like,
Yeah.
and that doesn't affect me. I'm black, and it
it
actually,
affects you more
It
'cause
actually
you're
more,
black.
yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read a quote.
Yep.
And then I need you to tell me if that is a current situation.
Okay.
So, in 2016,
Yep.
you wrote, "It's hard to see myself in the mirror, but I have to learn to just ignore it. Having my breast are no doubt a physical reflection of my womanhood, but it's not a reflection of my core being as a woman. Now, the question I have is, how do you feel looking yourself in the mirror now?
I'm fine with. I love looking at myself in the mirror now. Way back when I first started my surgeries, it was hard because it was new, getting used to that new me.
Yeah.
Now, you can't. I can't keep my clothes on. I was walking downstairs yesterday. I'm
I
like,
was like, I'm so proud of
I was
myself.
like, can you make me some tea? I'm like, sure. And I had like nothing
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
you know, I am proud of my body because my scars are my roadmap and my journey and my walk. And I love where my walk has taken me and where it is taking me. My journey, part of my journey is the physicality. When you look at my body, when I look at my body, I see what I've gone through. I see where I'm at right now. And because of what I went through, I've been put in the position to be a spokesperson, to be a model, to be a supporter of others and a voice for others. And what better role could a person have if they know that they're influencing or supporting someone else?
Yeah. Well, one of the trait that I was, very impressed, very proud of you is the fact I see a lot of nude modeling, which is showing your scars and stuff, and but there's
They're
nothing
not
that
nude.
no, not like when I say nude, partial
I
nude,
know,
yeah.
yeah.
But there's nothing that is I think more impressive than what you just did recently.
Oh,
Talk
yes.
to talk to us about
With
that.
naughty knickers.
Yeah.
Naughty knickers.
Yeah. So what is it? Is it a
So,
laundry line?
yeah, so it's
Okay.
it's a Canadian lingerie line, and they focus on making lingerie for women of all body shapes and sizes, with all body conditions, whether you've been scarred or.
Yeah.
And I love their pieces are beautiful
It
to
looks
begin with.
beautiful,
Very
yeah. Yeah.
sensual, like very lacy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
strappy.
I took note for gift ideas.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good. And the fact that like on their
My son is probably listening to like,
that's
oh
okay.
God.
You know what? He's a young man.
Yeah.
He's a young man, and
Yeah.
I'm not
No, we
afraid.
always bug him. Like,
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah. They provide very very beautiful pieces, and to see when I was contacted to be a part of it, he saw the president had seen a photo of me in a magazine with Alkin Amin.
Okay.
He did a photo. I did a photo spread with him and some other models, some beautiful models that had the photo series was on scars. Alkin
that's
from
that's the series that you, the photographer that you did
was in
previous.
Zoomer magazine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And shout out to Alkin and
Yes.
Paul.
Yeah.
He saw that, and then so he reached out to me, and he says he really loves what I stand for, and that I'm very open with my body and what my platform and my mission is about, and asked if I would be a part of their fall series. So we did the shoot. I think it was October 12th, and it was so much fun. Like a bunch of leaves, and we're out. It was almost like as if
Yeah,
we
I
were
know.
out
It's
in the
like
park,
fall. Yeah.
walking
yeah.
around in our lingerie,
Yeah.
right?
Was those fake or like they actually
they were
brought
fake.
leaf? Oh, okay.
They're-
I
no,
thought
they were
they
real.
Like gathered up like.
They were fake, but they were so
They
real
look
looking.
so real.
Yeah.
Like even the way it floats when
Yeah.
you throw it, and it's like.
But
yeah.
it just, I've done a lot of, I've done a few lingerie shoots, but this one made me feel so.
You can. It's crazy. I'm
You
sorry
see it?
not to interrupt you. You can see it.
Yeah.
You can see the impact that it
Yeah.
has, the proud moment
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
had. It was more of like you're turning to like the cancer on your face.
Yeah.
Kind of. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, there were women of different shapes, but
Yeah.
I think I was the only one that
Specifically
had
for you.
visible scars.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I had an abdominal hernia, so I have
Yeah.
a scar like all the way
Yeah,
from
yeah,
down my
yeah.
torso, and I owned it. Like I don't
You
care.
really did.
I don't care. Like, this is me. And if you would look at that and see something that's like, ew, then you have the problem,
Yeah.
not me. Right?
Yeah. Don't-
And
you
so
don't deal
I
with
think
that.
what it does for people is it makes them feel it's okay and it's good, and I can feel sexy and beautiful and sensual no matter what my body shape is, no matter what I've gone through.
So how is important is for you to show that for people that are going through it currently what you went through?
Well, it's very important because I want them to know that you will get there.
Yeah.
You might not feel that right now,
Yeah.
but persevere through the struggle, through the journey. You're going to get there. And I always remind women that, like, I might be at a different phase than you are in my breast cancer journey and my experience, but it took me time to get there. Like, I wasn't always this person, right? So there's these. I read this this story, not a story, but an article by an author called Gail Goodwin, and it really kind of like made me understand the stages I was going through even prior to reading, and the stages of healing. So there were 10 stages to healing, right? Starting with the anger and the shock. And yes, that's very real. When you are first diagnosed, anger, shock, wow, denial, depression. I went through depression. I ended up on, antidepressant drugs for a while. I mean, there was a period where I almost drove myself and my kids over a bridge because I was so depressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I felt that
Yeah.
sudden urge to
Yeah.
just want to do that. And then you get to that moving on, that, okay, this is my story. What am I going to do with it? To the point where you get to the last stage of philanthropy. This is me. I'm good ish, anyways, enough to give back and share.
Yeah. Isn't it
And
for all of us? I'm good-ish is
yeah,
for
yeah,
all
yeah.
of
We're all
us for as a
good-ish.
human.
No one is great.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, we're human, right?
Yeah,
But it's important for women to understand that, hey, you're going to go through it,
yeah,
but you can get there.
yeah. So, what is Natalie's future? What is her vision? What does she want it to do?
You know what? I'm so fulfilled, honestly. I have my hand in so many different things, and all of them makes me feel fulfilled in one way or the other.
Okay.
I would like to grow High Heel Diaries, especially the talk show part. I have a talk show
Yeah.
where I focus on women that have gone through their journey and struggle, and they're at a place where they're ready to share their story as a way of empowering others to get there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Been there, done that kind of thing. I would like to grow that into a bigger talk show. Like, I kind of want to be syndicated. Well, I want to be syndicated. I want to be on national television with it. And I want to keep that whole premise of the talk show. I don't want it to be like any others. I want it to still be about what I just said it was about.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to
don't
be
know
the
if I
Canadian
don't-
Oprah.
Definitely. Are you kidding me? With the style.
With a style.
I don't know if I'm mistaken. Weren't you on Rogers Durham, or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, you were, right?
Yeah. It's in a few.
I remember. So,
I'm busy.
yes, you are. Being busy, you're a life coach.
I'm a certified coach practitioner.
Okay, so it's like AKA life coach, right?
Life
That's
coach,
what.
yeah.
So what is that?
Well, really, what that is about, I wanted to have the tools taught to me as to how better to help someone that's trying to get through their journey to understand the process.
Okay.
So we use cognitive behavioral process. So we go through the 4 R's. Recognize that you have an issue or concern or a problem. Realize that the only way to get to a better place is that something has to be done about it. And the fact that you are here talking about it is realizing that.
Yeah.
Replace. So replace any negative, bad habits, people, things with more positive,
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
places, things. And then repeat. Cognitive behavioral therapy. So I wanted to learn that. And so this program that I took with Canadian, oh gosh, you were there.
Certified.
Certified, yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name fully right now.
Certified coach practitioner.
Yeah, thank you. I took that program, and so I got my certification with them. And, the people that come to me, sometimes they come to me just to talk, just about anything. And I said, they want to get to a certain place in their life with their journey. And I was like, we can talk more if you want. And so sometimes I'll put them through that program, and they come out with a better understanding of what they need to replace and how they need to repeat. So that's what that's for.
So do you have a different contact
No,
method
same.
on that? Just
No,
through
same.
high
Everything
heel?
is true. Yeah.
through Instagram and then.
Contact me through. The easiest way is to go through my Gmail. Just
Okay.
email me,
Okay.
and then we go from
Which
there.
is linked into your IG bio, right?
Yeah, and it's that, or you
High,
can just go to highheeldiaries.com to
yeah.
my website.
Okay.
There
High Heel
it's
Diaries. I'll post it in the
yeah.
description, anyways. Yeah.
There is like
Yeah.
a one-stop shop for everything.
Okay.
You'll have resources there.
Yeah.
To other cancer
With a
support.
bottle of wine.
Sorry.
With a bottle of wine too.
Resources. You have everything there. Actually, you know what? I lied. The bottle of wine's not there.
Oh, really?
You know why? Because you can't promote alcohol. You're right.
Okay. Got
Although it's a donation and then you get a commemorative bottle,
it. Yeah.
I can't put it on there.
It has to be
That
separate.
yeah, especially if I'm not like a registered. I forget what the word.
charity.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of like
A lot of like, especially
Yeah,
with
it's red
that
tape.
one, there's so much process to
yeah
it. Yeah.
Just like on social media.
Yeah.
You can't promote that you're selling alcohol on
Yeah,
social
yeah,
media.
yeah.
It's a and that's not what I'm doing. It's a donation and then you get a commemorative bottle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Unless it's a business, is that what it is?
Yeah,
Or
unless
in
you're
general, you can't promote alcohol.
no, you can't
No.
unless you have a what do you call it with the
And
The alcohol.
I whatever. I know what you're talking about.
no, you know
L something.
when you're selling alcohol
Licensed?
through the the
Yeah.
liquor license.
Yeah.
The
Is it,
Liquor Control Board of
LL
Ontario.
LL something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I am very, very, very honored and pleased for you to be here. I think some of the conversation we had to like minimize it because it's another podcast.
I know.
And I'm hoping that you're gonna come back.
Hey.
And probably I'll bring you back with your husband, and then just to even expand it and to talk about it. So I am really honored. So before we go, there's a tradition that I wanted to start, which is you have a notebook in front of you. I want you to leave an encouragement note to the next guest. You don't know who it
Encouragement
is.
note or word?
Yeah, to the next guest that's coming. I won't read it. I won't see it. The only time I'm gonna read it is when the guest is sitting in
Okay,
front of me
well,
next
I like
week.
that.
So you just write whatever encouragement word that comes to you, and then you won't know who it is, and it just goes randomly to the next
Encouraging
person.
word or no?
Huh?
A word?
Yeah, a word.
Yeah.
Encouragement word.
Yeah.
Yeah, encouragement word, and then you just write it down. So
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
I will do that.
Next time I'll bring a fancy pen as well with the notebook. So
I'm gonna bring you one of my pink High Heel Diaries pens.
I think so. I think so. I think so. I think we need that. And it was the conversation was more than I expected.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was more than expected, and there's so much value. I think there's a lot of people that will take from what you said, especially people that go through with any kind of cancer. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be necessarily
Yeah.
breast cancer.
Any kind of struggle,
Thank
really.
you. I was gonna say that. Yeah, any
yeah.
kind of struggle. I think coming on top and going through it because you will not know when you're going through it, right? So it's very very I don't know how to put it, but it's very valuable. It's very encouraging, and it's very honoring for me for you to be
Thank
here.
you.
And then I made my promise, and I switch around. You remember, like we had our appointment earlier, and then I'm like, no, I want you to be the first guest to be here because I want to start with you. So I rearranged everything, and then
You
and then-
did?
yeah.
So I'm the first guest?
You're the first guest.
Ah,
yes.
I love
so
it.
there's three people there was one person that before you, and I canceled that one. He's gonna go in March, and then there's another two people that's like, and it's gonna
Oh.
continue. So
Well, I mean,
think-
I'm glad that, especially that it happened during this month.
Yes, which I didn't plan by the
Yeah.
way. Yeah, and then I'm like yesterday I'm like thinking about it. I didn't even not yesterday. Throughout the week I was passing by, and then I saw Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October. I'm like, whoa. I didn't even know until like last week it was so go ahead.
Yep.
Sorry.
There it is.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me, and
I am glad.
I'm not sure if you want me to do the word, and we're still talking, or
Yeah,
we're
you
done.
can do
so,
it.
I mean, I appreciate you having me here, and this conversation was also more than I thought it would be. I mean, I knew it would be a great conversation just from meeting you the first time,
Yeah.
and a very natural progression
Yes.
of conversation. But you did a wonderful job with getting
you.
information out of me that I try to always impart.
Yeah.
Sometimes because there's so much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't remember to share
Yeah.
some important points.
Yeah.
But I think I got everything out there.
No, yeah, and then I wasn't interested in technical part of it because I want people to connect with you.
Yeah.
So for today's conversation, and we ended with this, and then hopefully that she will come back. So if you like this conversation, and then if you want to see more of it, make sure that you subscribe, you like, and then you hit that bell notification button, because it will not suggest it to you unless you do that, and then it will be a lot for us if you guys subscribe and share it, because the algorithm only suggests something that actually being liked and subscribed by people. So until we see you next time, take care, and then don't forget, be limitless. See ya.
Bye. Thanks for listening.